Hi there, and thanks for watching. In this video, I'm going to aim to answer the question, do you have to be extreme in order to achieve financial independence? If you are new to this channel, then welcome. I make videos on financial independence, getting out of debt, living frugally, and building sustainable wealth. The single most popular video on my channel to date is called F.I.R.E, I Got Burned. So that's F.I.R.E, the acronym for Financial Independence, Retire Early. The single most popular video on this channel to date is called F.I.R.E, I Got Burned. So that's F.I.R.E, which is the acronym for Financial Independence, Retire Early. This video was me kind of talking in stream of consciousness about my own experience with the F.I.R.E community, with a very specific subset of that community on a message forum. I will link the video somewhere in this video as well, so you can check it out if you want to. So all the interest that this video had generated made me think about my original plan to achieve financial independence. To be honest, my experience with that very limited subset of the F.I.R.E movement made me seriously doubt my own ability to achieve financial independence. And this brings me to the question that I'm answering in this video, which is, do you have to be extreme in order to achieve financial independence? To which I very clearly and strongly want to answer, no, you don't have to be extreme. Let me put in a disclaimer to say that extreme is going to be different for everyone. One person's extreme might be another person's everyday normal reality. What might be a huge cut and sacrifice for one person may be living extravagantly for someone else. It's all about perspective and how you choose to view your money and how you allocate it. For some reason, I felt like I wasn't doing financial independence right if I wasn't living off literal rice and beans, or if I wasn't working with a $3 monthly personal care budget. I felt like my expenses were too extreme and there was no way that I could achieve financial independence with budgets that were as large as mine were. For sure, if you find ways to save more money, you're going to achieve financial independence faster. However, the point is, if you're pointed in the right direction, and you keep doing the things that will lead you to financial independence, then eventually you're going to get there. The only difference, the only variable here is your speed. So a little bit later on in the video, I'm going to share with you my updated numbers from a spreadsheet that was created by a really awesome subscriber. He sent that over to me because the last video in which I tried to calculate my financial independence number was completely wrong, and he very kindly offered to help me out by creating a spreadsheet that I could use. There are tons of different financial independence calculators online. I will link to a few of my favorites down below. But the point is that you're actually considering these numbers. Here are some reasons why I believe that it's actually dangerous to push the idea that financial independence is only for those extreme cheapskates or people that can save 90% of their income. If you believe that financial independence is out of your reach, then you're going to be less likely to take those small incremental steps that will lead you in that direction anyway. It's like that saying, the best is the enemy of the good, and sometimes people feel like if they can't have the best, then forget the good, I'm not even going to try. And I believe that personally, and from what I've seen around me, believing that you can't even try is one of the #1 discouraging factors as far as making good financial decisions go. If more people knew that financial independence was actually very simple and relatively easy to achieve by making small incremental changes to their everyday behaviors, then more people would be tempted and enticed to make those very small incremental changes. Now again, small is definitely a relative word. One person's idea of an easy savings might be an extreme hardship for someone else. So it's all about finding where you can make those cutbacks, making them, and then allowing yourself a little leeway while still being on that path to financial independence. The second reason I think it's dangerous to push this idea that you have to be extreme in order to achieve financial independence is because it discounts the benefit of an automatic incremental savings plan. Now, this is a kind of savings where you don't even notice it coming out of your bank account. This is a type of savings where day to day you're making very small movements in the direction of financial independence and building up your savings so that it's not even a conscious sacrifice on your part. It's just something like a set it and forget it, like putting money in your slow cooker, walking away for 5 hours, and then coming back to dinner being cooked. That's exactly the type of savings plan that leads to independence, and not enough people believe that that's possible. And the third reason why I think it's dangerous to believe that only the extreme cheapskates can achieve financial independence is because it discounts the benefits of slow, steady wins. Now, these are the kind of wins where maybe you save $5 by not getting your coffee from X store and getting it from Y store instead. These are the boring wins that you hear about all the time that we've all possibly gotten a little bit tired of hearing about now. But the point is that they work. And one at a time, they begin to stack up on top of each other so that if you're really watching and paying attention, you can see those incremental gains over time, and that gives you motivation to keep going. So in summary, you do not have to be an extreme cheapskate in order to achieve financial independence. You don't have to go dumpster diving for food, and you don't have to not buy toilet paper. There are other ways to save, I promise. I'm also going to share what I believe to be the 3 most important things in heading in the direction of financial independence. The first thing is to not go into debt. Number 1, just don't go into debt. For today, don't go any further into debt. I remember when I was first starting out on my journey many, many years ago, actually not going into debt was kind of hard for me because I didn't have a steady, reliable income coming in, and the only way I could kind of survive day to day and buy food was on my credit card. So when I first heard the advice, don't go into debt, it was hard and I couldn't actually survive without going into debt. But eventually I got my income up, I developed strategies to get additional income coming in, and I got to the point where I could put my credit card away for good. This is probably the number 1 thing I would say, don't go into debt. I was talking with a really, really good friend the other day who had just purchased some new furniture, and she was really proud about being able to purchase that furniture and felt like she was all mature and adult by purchasing this furniture. And I was like, well, did you buy it in cash? And she's like, well, of course not. And I'm like, it just frustrated me so much on her behalf because I felt like that's not a mark of being an adult. Being able to spend money you don't have doesn't make you a grown-up. And I don't blame her for that. I kind of almost blame society. I don't blame society. We make our own choices. But I feel like a large part of that is not having adequate information. And the information that we do have is information that's coming from lenders. So I want to say that right here, and I want to be part of the movement that puts it out there. Don't go into debt. Don't spend money you don't have. That's not extreme. That's just basic. If you haven't gone into debt today, I congratulate you. Item number 2 is to live on less than you make. Very, very closely related with not going into debt is living on less than you make and making sure your lifestyle matches what actually comes in. Again, this might take some planning if you're currently living beyond your means. But I encourage you, as you make decisions going forward, plan below your means. And the third item that I believe will lead you on the path to financial independence is to save as much as you can. Sometimes you can only save $2. That's okay. You take those $2 and you save those $2 and you make a plan to maybe save $2.50 the next week, or maybe $3 the next week. It's incremental progress, and it's a type of progress that compounds over time. Compound interest. So in this next section, I did some calculating for myself with the assistance of Anthony Frame's spreadsheet. He is that really amazing viewer that made a spreadsheet including compound interest to kind of aid in my calculations. And again, there are many different financial independence number calculators out there. You can use any one of them. They will pretty much, for the most part, get you to that right number. And again, it's not so much that the number is exactly right. The number itself isn't the biggest point. The point is that you know where you're headed and you have a plan in place. And if you're off by a couple years, then you're off by a couple years and you adjust your calculation. The idea is you know where you're going. For my calculations, the primary vehicles that I'm going to be using are investing in 401ks and Roth IRAs. I did a little investigating just to be clear on what we're talking about, the difference between a 401k and a Roth IRA, just really quickly. So a Roth IRA is restricted to a yearly contribution of $5,500, and you must have an annual income of below $137K. So I think of that Roth IRA is restricted to an income of below $137,000 a year. A 401k plan is usually sponsored by an employer, and those have slightly higher income limits. I think it's around $280,000 as of 2020. For that, the yearly contribution max as of 2020 is $19,500. The Roth IRA is a contribution after taxes have already been paid, and the 401k is a contribution before taxes. The minimum age you can withdraw from both of those plans without penalty is 59 and a half without penalty. If you withdraw early, there is a 10% fee. Don't do that. If you can help it, try not to do that. Here is the amazing spreadsheet that Anthony Frame made, and I will put that in the link down below so that you can download it as well. Starting out, this annual expense number is the number that you want to withdraw at a safe withdrawal rate. So that's the percentage that you feel like you can safely withdraw without touching that nest egg. So I put in a pretty low achievable number of $30,000. Now this is pretty much the basic minimum that you need to live comfortably in pretty much in most states. Now, comfort, again, is a subjective word, but I'm putting that as the annual expense because, again, the point is to be achievable. Safe withdrawal rate, I'm keeping at 4%, and the financial independence number is $750,000, which is lower than my original number of $1.2 million because $750,000 sounds a lot more achievable, and if we need to adjust as we go, then we can totally do that. So the expected rate of return is what I expect to get on my investments year over year. Now, a moderately well-performing index fund will do about 9%. There are some years when you might do fabulous, you might do 16. There are some years that might be a little bit more volatile. You might only end up with a rate of maybe 5. But 8 is a good way to estimate. It's kind of a pretty standard rate. So I'm putting in a proxy age right now. You see that financial independence number at $750,000. This is the amount that, more or less, I have already saved in those two vehicles of that 401k and the Roth IRA. Here's the remaining amount to financial independence. This is the amount that if I fully max out both vehicles, that $550,000 and that $19,500, that I will be contributing. Now that's only from either employee-sponsored plans or from a government-sponsored Roth IRA. In both of these, were anything to happen with my employment, I would still be able to retain those vehicles and transfer them over into another savings method. You'll see the years to financial independence are about 15. 15 years. That's, relatively speaking, not a very long time. And this yearly savings amount, from my point of view, isn't a huge hardship. Yes, it takes some sacrifice and dedication and discipline and focus, but it's not unachievable. And that's the most important thing I want to contribute and that I want to communicate in this video is that it is completely within reach. So when you scroll down, you can see the years calculated out. This is year 1, this is the savings payment, this is the returns expected, and then that's the balance. Then he takes this amount right here, he adds the yearly savings payment. These are the amounts based on this amount, so we're compounding that interest, leading to an ending balance right here. So going straight down the line, you can see how that balance really grows with the addition of compound interest. So that's the magic bullet right there in the financial independence community, is that compound interest. Getting all the way down to, in year 14, year 15, there's that magic number at the start of year 16. So roughly 15 years of working, and in year 16, financial independence is getting really close. It's on the horizon. So this has been my quick take on the achievability of financial independence. Sure, you can be extreme, but you don't have to be extreme in order to achieve financial independence. It is within your reach. And the more people that believe that, the more people that are going to be financially independent. Less stress, less worrying. This is what we're all aiming for, is financial independence with money. Freedom to do with your time whatever the heck you want to do and not worrying about money. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you'll keep watching. Bye.